Hey you guys, I have been wanting to film this for forever, but life's been a lifin'. As I mentioned earlier on my channel, that part of my journey is my pagan path, and I want to start this off real fast with just letting you know this is my pagan path. Everybody else's pagan journeys, everything looks different. Like every time I meet another pagan, their path and their journey is all everything's different. It's not one size fits all. It's not organized. There are organized forms of different paganism, but I'm going to speak about my version of paganism, my pagan path, how I ended up here. For the record, this is not my altar. This is, and it's also not my Halloween decorations. This is just my everyday home decor. But, so let me start off. I was raised Christian. I live in Florida, and that's pretty much in our neck of the woods, rural Florida. Mostly everybody is Christian, and nothing wrong with that. I respect and appreciate all religions, non-religions. You do you, boo-boo. But for me personally, I was raised Christian, and I lived that way for most of my life. Not really questioning anything else. It was life. That's just was my life. Until I got older, became an adult, and there were certain things that I found inconsistencies and certain things that I did not agree with Christianity. I'm not saying anything bad about any Christians. There are good and bads of everybody. But there are certain things that I didn't agree with. And I started moving away from that, at least personally. Not very publicly about it. I didn't even really think too much into it. It just kind of became a distance in my life from a religion. So then I love everything spooky. Your girl loves to ghost hunt. I love cemeteries, ghost hunting, all that kind of stuff. So through many experiences that I had I felt like I couldn't just say there's nothing out there. There's no deity. Is there a deity? Is there not a deity? I felt like there was something out there, if that makes sense. There's something out there that I couldn't necessarily explain. And I found this through a lot of my ghost hunting experiences. Because I enjoy using the spirit box. I enjoy investigating haunted locations. I just always enjoyed that. And when you hear, it's like one thing when you see it on TV and you're like watching the ghost hunting shows and you're like, that'd be fake, But when you see it yourself, or when you experience it yourself and you have audio evidence and different things that you cannot explain, or at least I could not explain as much as I have tried, it led me to believe that there maybe is a realm or something. What is it? Who is it? I don't know. But I felt like there was something else out there, which led me to question things a little bit more in the religious side of things, or in the spiritual side of things, if you will. And that's when I started in 2018. I decided that I was going to investigate, for some reason, the paganism, as the ghost hunting and all that eventually leads to other occult, if you will, type. I learned more about the occult. I started learning about tarot. I started learning all those things, kind of start mixing together. One of my favorite cities in the world is New Orleans. When we went to investigate there, you're introduced to a lot of those different kinds. You're introduced to the world, which is, on my version of paganism, is quite more on the witchy side, if I'm being honest. So in 2018, I decided, because I did not want to take any informed leaps into anything. So I decided to dedicate that year. I started in January, and I dedicated the entire year to educate myself as much as I could, to learn from other people and other people's experiences, read, whatever I could do to just absorb as much witchy stuff as I could, and explore and find out, and what is this, what's that, how do you use this, how do you use that, and I was very careful within that year to not dabble too much. But through that year and learning and hearing so many different stories and meeting different other pagans and meeting people that weren't even pagan, that were just witchy and all the different forms of witchy that you got, I really loved it. I loved learning. I started reading cards just for myself, and I loved it. I learned as much as I could about tarot. I learned as much as I could about different deities, different pantheons. It was something that I liked. So my birthday is actually right around Yule time. So I had decided, since it was almost a complete year, that on my birthday was going to kind of be my initiation into my own path. And that's when I was going to take it, not seriously, but be able to have that knowledge through that year. I started in January and did around December, that I had decided that this was for me and that this was what I was going to pursue as my religion. At the time, I did not think about any deities or any, like, what deity was to me. I didn't really go that far into it. I just was more focused on learning, being more in touch with nature, respecting nature. I delved more into that side of the paganism, respecting the Sabbats, respecting the holidays, putting those into my normal life, my daily and yearly life, and it just felt right. Like, as a pagan, you realize that you just go with nature, you go with the flow of the seasons. The winter, things get more desolate. There's certain changes that can happen within you and without you. The fall, it's my favorite time of the year, but there's a whole magic and a change to that. Summer has its own. I live in Florida, so summer's quite hot. It's not really one of my favorite seasons, but spring, everything's breathing life again. You find that you've already done that for so long of your life, or I have found that I've already done that for so long, that when I became pagan, and I just started, it just felt so natural, which is why I've really never strayed from it, because this is who I am, and this is what I enjoy, and that's me. Now, when it comes to the deities, that could be a whole video on itself, but I'm going to touch on it real fast. I work with Loki and the Morgan. The Morgan I worked with first, and then I personally found that I needed a male energy. I had a female energy, I needed a male energy, so I started working with Loki. In Loki kind of just found me, but that's, like I said, this could be a whole other video with the deities. But real short and sweet, my view of deity is more of an energy. It's more of tapping in, and I believe this is why you find so many consistents through different pantheons. Now, this is all my experiences. This is all my perspective. I am by no means a end-all be-all of any kind of religious studies or anything like that, so take this with a grain of salt. But what I've noticed through different pantheons and different sects, if you will, of paganism is that a lot of times you'll find the same energy. You'll find like a mother energy, a more warrior energy. You'll find the trickster energy. You'll find a more, you find all these different energies. And for me, I believe that I believe humans mostly do this, but I do this especially. We put a face. I need to put a face to the energy, and when I'm tapping into that particular energy, or when I want that energy in my life, I like to have a face in my mind and a representation of what I'm working with, what energy, and how that energy can help me in my life, and it has in my daily life. And like I said, that could be a whole other video. But I do work with two different energies, and I like to call them energies and deities and not particularly gods, because I don't know what's out there. I don't believe that there's in the clouds looking down at me and stuff like that. But do I believe that them and their energy can have a effect on, if anything, my personal life, and things that have helped me get through hard times, things that have helped me get through happy times. Working with those different energies has helped me. So what it is, who it is, I don't really question it, to be honest with you. I just appreciate those energies in my life and in my practice. Because, like I said, I'm a practicing pagan and have been for many years. And I just wanted to give you a short kind of rundown on what my pagan path looks like to me. Like I said, this is not my altar. I would like to show my working altar. I actually have two different altars in my house. One is a working altar, and one is my altar for my ancestors. And I'd like to show those at some point in life. But I wanted to definitely make this video and give you a little bit of a rundown on what my pagan path looks like. And hopefully, if you find this and it's helpful, that would be great. Because there's many, many people through YouTube and stuff that has helped me on my pagan journey. And good luck.